Day 6 is spring ball, and I think the big thing is we've got guys that have been in the system. Our biggest thing this spring that we need to try to do is to develop depth. We've got some numbers. We've got our young guys that played for us last year, got their feet wet, and now it's time for them to get their technique really where they're refined it and try to get them top of their game technique-wise. And I think the big thing is to develop the depth of who's going to be where, and for each one guy to look at his job and say, where can I get better?
Getting back to coaching linebackers, obviously you did a little bit, last year as the D coordinator, but you've done it for longer than most of these kids have been alive. Getting back to actually coaching them most of the time, how's that worked out for you?
I like it. I'm involved in I've been around them, been in the meeting room some, but now I'm in there the whole time. And big thing for me is just having that communication with them. And Garrett did a wonderful job. Coach decided to make that transition, and now being able to come back with them, I'm good with it because I've done it for such a long time.
Obviously, it's a smaller group. Is that tougher given the fact that you're going to have to adjust a little bit the way you guys work with linebackers, or the fact that you guys played two guys most of the time last year?
The big thing for us right now, we've got to develop some depth. We have a smaller group, but the one thing that allows us to work on those guys. They get more reps, and that doesn't mean a lot of high volume reps. A lot of it's low tempo teaching stuff, and where they can refine their craft.
What's the biggest thing you want to get accomplished with these linebackers? Obviously, you're losing a few veteran guys.
Well, the big thing I talk to them about is hey, we've got to be good at playing blocks. You got to know what you're doing. But the biggest thing I'm trying to work right now is technique and execution of technique more than anything else. That hey, we can get better at defending ourselves and blocks, at taking good angles and that type of thing.
Defensively, on the whole, losing a guy like McClure, losing a guy like Darius White, those guys have been big for you the past few years. Who's made jumps? Who do you think has shown up well over the first 6 days?
The biggest guy that I've looked like, I think Ray Davidson's had a good spring up to this point. Deron Brown has been somewhat of a surprise. I'm glad he's done what he's done. He's done what I hoped he would do. He's done a good job with that. I think Rambo is coming along. For a guy who played some nickel and dime during the year, didn't get a lot of safety reps. He's done a good job as far as transitioning back. Luke Beckett is a defensive tackle. I think he's got a chance to come on and be a good player for us. Noah Westerfield has had a really good spring in 6 days. He's a completely different guy than what he was last year. That's just some of the guys that pop into my head right now.
Sonny said that you guys wanted to get to be a little more athletic on the interior of the defensive line. How does a guy like Rusty help to that regard?
The big thing, like Rusty Becker came in and he was 255 pounds or whatever, and he's put on 10 or 12 pounds, but I'm not worried about him getting any bigger. What he does is he brings athleticism to us, because the power teams are the power teams, but there's so many teams that are finesse teams, and you've got to be athletic to keep up those offensive lines. And that's where his athleticism is going to be a big help.
What do you want to get done in the second half of spring ball?
I think the big thing is we've got a few players targeted that we're saying, hey, these guys have got to jump their game up. Some of them, Rusty Becker, for instance, he's got his feet wet. He'll get this break. He'll come back in. I expect him to be a better player the day he comes back than the day when he left. And we've got a few key guys like him, that is John Day Johnson, that have got to up their game and continue to refine their skills.
Trevor Howard is an incredibly athletic kid. Obviously missed a year missed really 2 years because of the knee. What have you seen out of him?
I've seen him come along. We had him about 3 days of some individual for the bowl practice, and then get him out here now. But he's shown some flashes that I really didn't know what he had, but he's shown some nice flashes, and I think he's got a chance to come along for us too. Good deal.
Thanks, Art.
Thank you. All right.